September 23, 1955, a Thursday night in Hollywood. British actor Alec Guinness is turned away from a packed restaurant when he hears footsteps running behind him. "My name is James Dean. Would you please come and join me?" In the restaurant courtyard sits a brand new silver Porsche 550 Spyder, still wrapped in cellophane, a bunch of roses tied to its hood. Dean is 24 years old and on the verge of superstardom. He's just finished filming Giant, and he's eager to show off his new toy. Guinness looks at the car. Something feels wrong. The air feels heavy. And then words come out of his mouth, words he doesn't recognize as his own. Alec Guinness said, "I said, please do not get into that car, because if you do," and I looked at my watch, "it is now 10 o'clock, Friday the 23rd of September, 1955. If you get in that car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week." Dean laughed it off. 7 days later, he was dead. But that wasn't the end of the story, because what happened next became one of Hollywood's most enduring legends. Some of it is documented fact, some of it is urban legend. All of it has become part of Hollywood mythology. This is the story of Little Bastard, the Porsche that killed James Dean. The verified tragedies, the unproven legends, and the mystery that remains unsolved to this day. By September 1955, James Dean had become the voice of a generation. His first film, East of Eden, had made him a star. Rebel Without a Cause was about to be released, and he just wrapped Giant opposite Rock Hudson and Elizabeth Taylor. But acting wasn't Dean's only passion. He was obsessed with speed. He'd been racing competitively since March 1955, driving a red Porsche Speedster in amateur races across California. He placed third at Bakersfield. He was hooked. But the Speedster wasn't fast enough. Dean wanted more power, more speed, more danger. On September 21, 1955, just 9 days before his death, Dean traded his Speedster for a brand new Porsche 550 Spyder, one of the fastest cars in the world. Only 90 of these cars were ever built. They were lightweight, aluminum body, no roll bars, no safety features. In a collision, they crumpled like tinfoil. Dean paid $7,000, equivalent to $70,000 today. He asked custom painter Dean Jeffries to paint the number 130 on the hood, doors, and rear deck, and across the back, in bold letters, "Little Bastard." The name came from Warner Bros. Studio boss Jack Warner, who'd called Dean a little bastard after he refused to leave his trailer on the studio lot. Dean thought it was hilarious. He wanted revenge, so he named his race car after the insult. But Dean's friends were worried. They'd seen him drive, recklessly, fearlessly, almost suicidally. Actor Nick Adams begged him not to race. So did actress Ursula Andress, who was with him when he bought the car. Even his uncle, Charlie Nolan, had a bad feeling. Then came Alec Guinness. Alec Guinness was exhausted. He'd just flown in from Copenhagen after a grueling transatlantic flight. He agreed to have dinner with actress and screenwriter Thelma Moss, a colleague from a previous project, but they were turned away from restaurant after restaurant. Moss was wearing trousers unacceptable for women in 1950s Hollywood. Finally, they tried Villa Capri, a casual Italian spot. Still no table. As they walked away, Guinness heard running footsteps. He turned, and there was James Dean. Dean recognized Guinness immediately. The British actor had just been nominated for an Oscar for The Lavender Hill Mob. Dean invited them to join his table, but first, he wanted to show off his new car. In 1977, 22 years after that night, Guinness appeared on the Parkinson television show. He told the story of what happened next. Alec Guinness said, "There in the courtyard of this little restaurant was this little silver thing, very smart, all done up in cellophane with a bunch of roses tied to its bonnet. I said, 'How fast will it go?' And he said, 'It'll do 150 miles per hour.' I said, 'Have you driven it?' And he said, "No, I've never been in it at all." And then something happened that Guinness couldn't explain. He described it as an experience unlike anything before or since in his life. Alec Guinness said, "Some strange thing came over me, some almost different voice, and I said, 'Look, I won't join your table unless you want me to, but I must say something. Please do not get into that car, because if you do,' and I looked at my watch, 'if you get into that car at all, it's now Thursday, 10 at night, and by 10 o'clock next Thursday, you'll be dead if you get into that car.'" Dean laughed. Of course he did. He was 24 years old, invincible, unstoppable, a rebel without a cause. Guinness never saw him again. 1 week later, to the hour, James Dean was dead. Alec Guinness also said, "I've never had an experience like it before or since. It was a very, very odd, spooky experience. I liked him very much, too. I would have loved to have known him more." This warning is documented fact. Guinness told this story consistently in interviews and in his autobiography, Blessings in Disguise. The timeline is verified. The premonition was real. What happened next would become Hollywood legend. Friday, September 30th, 1955. James Dean woke up early. He was entering the Salinas road races that weekend, a small-time sports car event about 300 miles north of Los Angeles. His plan was to tow Little Bastard behind his Ford Country Squire station wagon, but his Porsche mechanic, Rolf Lutherich, suggested they drive the car instead to break in the engine and get Dean used to the handling. Dean agreed. He'd drive the Porsche. His friend Bill Hickman, a Hollywood stuntman, would follow behind in the station wagon, towing an empty trailer. Photographer Sanford Roth came along to document the trip for Collier's magazine. They left around 1:15 p.m. At 3:30, they were pulled over by California Highway Patrol Officer Odie V. Hunter near Bakersfield. Dean got a speeding ticket for going 65 in a 55 zone. Hickman got one too. It didn't slow Dean down. Just after 5:30 p.m., Dean was barreling down Highway 466, now called State Route 46, near the tiny town of Cholame. He was doing 85 miles per hour, maybe faster. The sun was low in the sky. The road was empty. Then, ahead of him, a black and white Ford Tudor sedan appeared. The driver, a 23-year-old college student named Donald Turnipseed, was making a left turn onto Highway 41. Turnipseed didn't see the little silver Porsche. The Spyder was so low to the ground, so fast, it was almost invisible in the fading light. Dean saw the Ford turning. He had seconds to react. Lutherich, sitting beside him, shouted, "That guy's got to stop, he'll see us." He didn't. The impact was catastrophic. According to police reports, the Porsche hit the Ford almost head-on. The force sent the Ford nearly 40 feet down the road. Lutherich was ejected from the cockpit and survived, though with severe injuries. Turnipseed walked away with minor injuries. James Dean died almost instantly from a broken neck and massive internal injuries. He was pronounced dead on arrival at Paso Robles War Memorial Hospital at 6:20 p.m., exactly 1 week after Alec Guinness's warning. The Porsche was a twisted, unrecognizable wreck. The aluminum body had crumpled like paper. The car was declared a total loss. But Little Bastard wasn't finished. What happened next is where documented history meets Hollywood legend. The wrecked Porsche was sold to a salvage yard in Burbank. A local doctor and racing enthusiast named William Eschrick heard about it. He'd raced against Dean earlier that year. He wanted the car. Eschrick bought the wreckage and stripped it for parts. He kept the engine and installed it in his own Lotus 9 race car. Then he sold the transmission and suspension components to his friend, Dr. Troy McHenry, another racer. On October 21, 1956, less than 11 months after Dean's death, both Eschrick and McHenry entered the same race, the Pomona Road Races in Southern California. Both cars were equipped with parts from Little Bastard, and both of them crashed. According to police reports and newspaper accounts from October 22, 1956, Eschrich's Lotus, powered by Dean's engine, spun out of control during the race. He survived with minor injuries, but McHenry wasn't as lucky. His car, using Little Bastard's suspension, swerved off the track and slammed into a tree. He was killed instantly. This is the only verified cursed death after James Dean's. It's documented in police reports, newspaper coverage, and Dr. Eschrich's own testimony. Meanwhile, the mangled body of the Porsche had been purchased by George Barris, Hollywood's most famous car customizer. He was known as the King of Customs and would later create the 1966 Batmobile. Barris inspected the frame and realized it was beyond repair, so he put it on display. From 1957 to 1959, Barris loaned the wreckage to the National Safety Council for educational safety tours. The twisted Porsche was displayed at car shows, high schools, bowling alleys, and movie theaters as a warning about the dangers of reckless driving. And this is where the story becomes complicated, because what happened next depends on who's telling the story. In 1974, nearly 20 years after Dean's death, George Barris published a book called Cars of the Stars. In it, he claimed the car had caused a series of bizarre accidents and tragedies. According to Barris, the car allegedly fell off its display stand in Sacramento, injuring a teenager. A mechanic working on it supposedly suffered mysterious injuries. A thief trying to steal the steering wheel allegedly broke his arm. The garage where it was stored caught fire on March 12, 1959. This fire is documented in wire service reports, though the car suffered only minor damage. Barris also claimed that a truck driver transporting the car was killed when the Porsche fell on him. But no police reports, no death certificate, no news coverage of this incident has ever been found. The driver's name, George Barkis, appears nowhere in historical records except in Barris's book. But one part of the story is absolutely true. In 1960, the car was loaded into a sealed boxcar for transport from Miami to Los Angeles. When the train arrived in LA, the boxcar was still sealed, but when they opened it, the Porsche was gone. It had vanished, and no one has seen it since. To this day, no one knows what happened to Little Bastard. In 2005, the Volo Auto Museum offered a $1 million reward for information leading to its recovery. No one ever claimed it. In 2020, a single part, the car's transaxle, was discovered in Massachusetts. It had been stored under a porch for a decade, then in a crate for 30 years. In 2021, it sold at auction for $387,000. The buyer, Zach Bagans, host of a paranormal TV series. He put it on display in his haunted museum in Las Vegas. So was Little Bastard really cursed? James Dean historian Lee Raskin has spent decades researching this question. His conclusion: most of the curse stories were fabricated or heavily embellished by George Barris, who had clear financial incentive to promote the legend. Barris was a showman who understood the power of myth. The only cursed death that can be verified through police reports and news coverage is Dr. McHenry's. The teenager's injury in Sacramento? No hospital records. The truck driver's death? No death certificate, no police report, no news story. The mechanic's mysterious injuries? No documentation whatsoever. Many of these stories appear only in Barris's 1974 book, written nearly 2 decades after the events supposedly occurred, with no named victims and no verifiable details. But some things cannot be explained away. Alec Guinness's premonition was real. He told the story consistently for decades, and the timeline is verified. Multiple friends warned Dean about the car before he died. Dr. McHenry did die in a crash while using parts from Little Bastard, and the car itself did vanish from a sealed train car in 1960. So what do we make of all this? Was it a curse, coincidence, or simply the power of myth and tragedy combining to create a legend that's impossible to kill. Maybe the curse was never supernatural. Maybe it was just the story itself, a story so powerful, so irresistible, that it took on a life of its own. James Dean made 3 movies. He lived 24 years, and he owned Little Bastard for exactly 9 days. But his legend and the legend of the car that killed him will never die. The vault is open. The truth and the legend are both here. Subscribe for more stories from Hollywood's golden era. Next time, we uncover why MGM destroyed Judy Garland and how they got away with it.